This video is going to be cybersecurity and why it matters. Internet is a global network which connects millions of computers all over the world, as it is a simple part of today's generation to do their activities by sharing information in their social media. With the growth of Internet, any personal information can be easily spread. So, what is cybersecurity and why is it important? Cybersecurity is the practice of defending computers, mobile devices, networks, and data from malicious threats or attacks. Upon that, cybersecurity has become a necessity for the government and many organizations. This benefits them by collecting and storing numbers of data on their network from the legal access they aim to obtain their values. Next, we're going to elaborate the elements of cybersecurity which is important for everyone to know of. First element is application security, where it defines a general guidance for user which include features on software to prevent a scope of different threats. This element has its own benefit which can help app developers to detect threats and weaknesses. The solutions are listed, like session management and many more. Network security describes a set of rules to protect the usability, reliability, integrity, and safety of the network. By using firewalls and anti-malware are the methods to secure your device from the hacker. Therefore, the benefits of the network helps to protect user private information from attacks and their reputation. Operational security is a method that involves the classification and stability of the unknown critical data that can be used to gain factual information when pieced together. These are 5 steps of operational security, such as identify critical information, determine threats, analyze vulnerability, assess risk, and apply appropriate countermeasures. Information security is the practice of restricting unauthorized access by accessing or disruptions of information. Upon that, this security consists of 3 objectives commonly known as CIA: confidential, integrity, and availabilities. Following is disaster recovery planning is a process which includes handling a risk assessment, establishing priorities, developing improvement strategies in case of a disaster. In determining a recovery strategy, organizations should consider such concerns as budget, resources, technology, data, and suppliers. This disaster recovery plan secures an organization against both human needs and natural disasters. Last element is the end user education, which the end user is the person who uses the software or hardware after it has been fully developed, marketed, and installed. On that, having these simple steps for education is advantageous to the end user as they educate themselves by securing their personal information and data from the illegal user.
What are cyber threats? It is when one attempts an illegal access to a control system, device, and network using data communications pathway. Threats to control systems can come from numerous sources. These are the 7 most common sources of threats. Types of cyber threats. How do we detect a malware infection? It's a slow system caused by insufficient RAM. Unwanted pop-ups happen when it creates inconveniences during the access time of the devices. Adware is part of a malware. It affects the accessing speed as it uses RAM and CPU cycles, which causes instability to the system and slows down internet connection. Spyware allows advertisers to gather information about one's computer habits, which uses memory and capacity. This may slow down or interrupt the system. Viruses have harmful effects and will corrupt your database and make it inaccessible to the user by showing disturbing messages or stealing data information. Phishing uses emails and websites to cheat users, and through this, one's confidential information like passwords, usernames, and credit card details are all given away. Attackers send a high volume of data and traffic through the system until the network hangs due to the overloading traffic. This occurs when a connection between the 2 systems is intercepted by an outside entity and happens in many online and social interactions. Spoofing is a cyber threat where someone impersonates someone else to retrieve confidential information. A Trojan is a program that allows someone to take control of another user's computer. Trojan may pose as a trustable software to the users. It is one of the most oldest and common malwares. Backdoor threats are when authorized and unauthorized users take security measures and secure high-level user access, which is known as the root access on a computer system. An SQL is a kind of attack by which cybercriminals use software to expose the network applications to steal or gain administrative power over the systems by working the affected applications. These companies here were all hacked using SQL injections. Thus, we need to always update the database
What
management.
are the impacts of cyber threats? Firstly, we got social, next, reputational, economy, physical, or digital. So what is social? Social is a danger of disruption to daily life, such as an impact on key service, a negative prescription of technologies, or a drop in internal morale in organization affected by a high-level incident. What is reputational? It impacts can include a loss of key staff, broken relationship with customers, and intense media investigation. What does economy do? It categorizes lists of consequences such as fall in stock values, controlling damage, or reduce profits as a probability. What is psychological? It impacts such as individuals being left depressed, embarrassed, or confused are listed. Last but not least, we have physical or digital. It is the loss of life or damage to the infrastructure. What are the ways that we can prevent from cyber threats? Here are the few ways that you can prevent from cyber threats. Firstly is do not share your private information online. Next is do not click the links in the email and do not download the file. Next is keep your system up to date. Use passwords that are complex by having letters, numbers, and symbols. Do not use guessable passwords and do change your password frequently. Install and apply updates. Always have a backup. Never open an unknown attachment from unknown senders because it usually contains malware or viruses. Next is to secure your Wi-Fi networks. Last but not least, to update and patch software to prevent security loopholes. Here is some advantages of cybersecurity. Firstly is to protect the system against viruses such as worms, spyware, and other outcast applications. Next is to reduce and minimize computer freezing and crashing. Next is protect against data from frauds. Last but not least, protect computers from being hacked. The disadvantages of cyber is firewall can be tricky to configure. Firewall may prevent users from doing certain actions on the internet. Next is need to update the new software. It could be costly towards the average user. Do you know what's the impact of cybersecurity? The impacts of cybersecurity is that they protect networks and data from unauthorized access and hackers. By having strict and effective security can enhance information security and business management. Therefore, it is the fundamental to recognize the various types of risks and vulnerabilities that exist in the internet world. Thank you. This is the end to our video. The part 1 was talked by Atikah. Second part is by Keerthana. Third part is by Minnie. Please like, share, and subscribe.